Have you ever noticed something really small, something you might usually just, walk past,
Hmm.
and then it turns out it reveals some kind of like surprisingly big secret about how the world works?
Yeah, happens all the time.
Well, today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking a deep dive into the curious case of wilting outdoor duckweed.
Those tiny green specks you see on ponds.
Exactly,
Yeah.
those little guys. And our source material for this deep dive comes straight from Eng's Notes on Fishkeeping, Part 121. It's dated July 22, 2025.
Okay.
So our mission today, pretty much to unpack what might be happening with these little green plants and maybe uncover the bigger lessons they offer about nature's quiet, but, well, incredible resilience.
It's really fascinating, isn't it? How just a personal observation, tucked away in a fish keeping journal, can suddenly become this like masterclass in biological adaptation.
Totally.
It really reminds us that sometimes the biggest lessons, they really do come from the smallest things.
Okay, so let's dig into this mystery then. Eng's notes, they describe the outdoor duckweed, well, appearing to wilt, almost like it's under duress.
Under duress. Okay.
And what really sets the scene are the specific environmental things they point out. The recent Southwest Monsoon's drier air,
Right.
and also the usual regional haze from our neighboring country forest fires.
Ah, okay. So multiple factors there.
Yeah, it paints a pretty clear picture of a plant maybe in trouble, doesn't it?
It does. And it's easy to just sort of dismiss drier air or haze as these like broad atmospheric things. But for something like duckweed living right there on the water's surface,
Yeah, it's exposed.
it's totally exposed. So those seemingly subtle shifts, they can have a really profound impact. Drier air means more evaporation, pulling moisture away.
Right.
And haze, well, that can significantly block the sunlight they need.
Sure. Makes sense.
So while Eng does note it's hard to pinpoint the exact cause, these are definitely plausible external stressors.
For an aquatic plant, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so faced with these sort of external pressures, Eng first looks at well, a pretty common explanation, right?
Huh?
They consider the simple idea that it could simply be the natural end of their short, typical lifespan.
Okay, the lifespan angle.
But hang on. If these plants reproduce so fast, like wildfire,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't a short lifespan for an individual frond, doesn't that kind of contradict the idea of this thriving, persistent colony? How does that actually work?
That's a really sharp question. Because you see the mass, not the individuals.
Exactly.
And what we learn from the source is this detail many people probably overlook.
Mm-hmm.
Individual duckweed leaves, or fronds, they only last about 25 to 31 days.
Wow, they had short.
Yeah. So while the whole colony, the whole green carpet, can seem almost immortal, individual plants are constantly being born and, well, dying off. It's a rapid turnover.
Okay.
So this rapid turnover, it could definitely explain some of that wilting look, just older fronds naturally reaching the end of their, very brief lives.
And that makes sense, just the normal cycle happening.
Could be part of it. And if we look a bit wider, the notes also mention another potential factor. Changes in water parameters might also be playing a role.
Ah, okay. So not just the air, but the water itself.
Exactly. Even subtle shifts in the water's chemistry, maybe it's becoming a bit more acidic, or perhaps certain key nutrients are running low.
Or temperature swings?
Or temperature swings, yeah, exactly. Any of that can really impact even hardy plants like duckweed. It affects their health, their growth, everything.
Okay, so we've got lifespan, we've got environmental stress, water parameters. But just when you think, okay, maybe it's one of those, or a mix, Eng throws in this fantastic curveball, this really interesting observation. Despite all these, red flags, despite the current wilting, based on past observations, it's likely the duckweed is just entering a dormant phase.
Oh, dormant.
Hold on, that a plant just disappears and then pops back up later. That's quite a trick.
It's a fantastic observation, isn't it? Because it just immediately challenges our first assumption that wilting automatically equals dying or failing.
Right. We see wilt, we think, uh-oh.
Exactly. But for duckweed, this might not be a sign of failure at all. It could be a strategic physiological pause. Dormancy.
So what does that actually mean? What are they doing when they're dormant?
Well, it could mean they sink down to the bottom of the water, they slow down their internal life processes, their metabolism. They essentially just sort of hunker down until conditions get better.
Wow.
And Eng's notes describe it so vividly. We've seen this before, where they seem to vanish only to suddenly reappear and sprout abundantly as if from nowhere.
It almost sounds like magic, like you said.
It really does. It's like a disappearing act followed by a sudden reappearance. And it just underscores their incredible adaptation strategy. As the notes conclude, perhaps this is simply a normal part of their life cycle in response to environmental shifts. It shows that what looks like a problem, like wilting, is actually a pretty sophisticated inherent response. It's how they survive the tough times.
Okay, so stepping back from the duckweed itself for a second, what does this all mean for us? Beyond the amazing biology of these tiny plants, if these little guys can do this, what can we maybe learn about how life, life in general, responds to challenging conditions? And it feels like there's a really powerful message hiding in there about resilience and adaptation.
Absolutely. I think the key takeaway is that what might appear on the surface as like a decline or even a failure in nature could actually be a highly sophisticated survival mechanism in action. It's easy to misinterpret.
Right. We see stillness, we think it's over.
Exactly. But these small duckweed plants, they really exemplify a dynamic response, not a static one, to environmental shifts. They're not just passively enduring stress, they're strategically adapting to it. They're waiting, conserving energy, ready for the right moment to flourish again. It's a masterclass in flexibility, really.
So our deep dive into Eng's notes on fish keeping didn't just solve the little mystery of some wilting duckweed, did it?
No, not at all.
It feels like it unveiled this powerful truth. What looks like failure or decline in nature is often its most ingenious form of adaptation. These tiny plants, by just, seeming to vanish, they're actually teaching us this profound lesson about cycles, about renewal. It's a really remarkable reminder that in the natural world, appearances can be incredibly deceiving.
Which leads us to maybe think about something else. It raises an important question, doesn't it? How often do we misinterpret a period of quiet or apparent decline, maybe in our own lives or just in nature around us? How often do we see that as an ending?
Yeah, when it's not.
And when it's actually a vital part of a much larger, often unseen cycle of renewal. Maybe it's a necessary pause before the next phase.
That's a great point.
So maybe we can encourage you, the listener, to look for these hidden cycles in your own observations, whether it's your garden, maybe a local park, or shoot, even just a potted plant on your windowsill. There might be more going on than meets the eye.